Hey everyone, this is Brian here from Massey's Main Entertainment, and I want to welcome you all back to our series of the top 100 favorite movies of all time for each one of us individually. As I said, I'm Brian Massey. This is part two of our countdown, and today we're going to be covering movies from counting it down from the 90 slot all the way down to number 81. We're doing 10 at a time for each video. Going to have 10 different videos throughout these segments, and hopefully we can get them done within a span of 10 12 weeks. So it depends on how things go. Remember that this list kind of reflects our personal favorites, not necessarily the most critically acclaimed films. Joining me in the series are my buddies Doc. Say hi to everybody.
Hello all.
And then Randy Nelson. Randy. And then
Hey.
Rick Strickler, who's joining us in the bubble, it seems, tonight.
Howdy.
And together we're exploring a wide array of movies spanning different genres and years. So in part one, we discussed 39 different movies with only one match among the four of us. And I believe that was Rich and Randy. It was the Birds, and that kind of showcases the diverse taste and perspectives that each one of us bring into the table. This series will be that, like I said, a 10-part journey. And we just want you all to stay tuned for each installment. As always, we appreciate your support. Don't forget to like, sub, comment down below. We'd love to hear your thoughts, your rankings as you go, and maybe compare it to ours. I think it would be just a whole lot of fun. So, guys, after getting 1 week behind you, when you went back to your list, was there something different that you did as you continue on, or did you just keep on going with the same way you wanted to do things?
I went the same way. I'm just doing it as we go, week by week, and trying to get a smattering of different genres, eras, comedy. My taste in films. Basically, I'm going to have some heavy hitters towards the top end of the list because I think those are my all-time favorites. But I still want to get some comedies and maybe some offbeat stuff in here.
Right, Doc?
Yeah, I'll say. I think what I'll find out on my list here is probably, I love a lot of movies, right? And this list could have been 500 movies long or whatever like that, because I could probably have 500 movies at any time and be happy. But I think it does go back to the favorite part. Not necessarily the best movies of all time are going to be on my list, is what I'm going to say, because they're not my go-tos in a lot of senses. As much as I love those movies, so I could put on something really stupid and quirky or funny or something like that instead, because it's a mood thing. So movies are moods sometimes. So yeah, it's very diverse, but I think they'll cover off all the genres as well too, Rich. So we'll go on that road.
Right. Randy, what are your thoughts?
Well, it's pretty difficult, and in fact, I decided that there was a movie I really wanted that I forgot and I left off, and then I had to figure out what movie I'm kicking out down the list to get it on.
So, that happens. Yep.
Yep. That happens. That's for sure. So, but the order tonight, Doc, since you went last time, you have to go first, and then Randy will follow you. Rich will go into the 3 spot, and I get to bat clean up tonight at the 4 hole. So, Doc, get us started and let us know where you're at number 90.
So at number 90, I'm going to come in with 1986's Manhunter at number 90 for me. A Michael Mann movie here. I think it's early Michael Mann, but I think it's based on the Red Dragon, where you have the characters of William Peterson is playing investigator Graham, who has a direct connection to Lecter before you see Lecter in Silence later on. But I find those connections I find are a little bit stronger for me in some senses than Silence, because there is the direct connection between William Peterson's lead character and Lecter in the movie and hunting down a killer in the Tooth Fairy, shall we say. But it's really well shot here. We've got a classic thriller cop chasing bad guys and using a psychological thriller under the circumstances. And Brian Cox is very good as Lecter in this movie as well. So, personal favorite for me, man. I really like Manhunter. So, I'll jump into number 89. I got Training Day at number 89. I keep coming back to this movie, man. I just think Denzel is the complete asshole that he is, and it's but he plays it so well. You know, you can think about it as an actor. The guy can play like the hero, and he can play like the really bad guy. You never really knew that maybe until you saw this. There's 24-hour LAPD narc cops and stuff like this, and Ethan Hawke playing as the rookie guy, going under his wing, and then finding out, you know, how corrupt this character really is and stuff like this. So Training Day is it's very tense and kind of pulls at you in different ways sometimes, this movie. But Ethan Hawke's character is fantastic, and like I said, Denzel is my top 10 guys I probably still hate on film for this character anyway. So, but it's a fantastic movie, man. Training Day is a classic. So that's my number 89. Number 88, I have Silverado from Lawrence Kasdan. I love a good. This is the Western that I really liked ever since I've seen it. And I watch it every once in a while just to watch it because I think it's so somewhat campy, but still somewhat, you know, it's got violence, it's got great actors, it's got a great cast. You know, Jeff Goldblum, John Cleese, the main guys, Kevin Kline, Scott Glenn, Danny Glover, and Brian Dennehy is the cop, and a couple of criminals. One's gone good, one stayed in that fashion, and the old Western, shall we say, storyline in some senses, but it's done really well. And it's a Lawrence Kasdan movie too, so I like him. So that'll be my number 88. 87, I'm going to 1941. Yeah, I like Humphrey Bogart, man. I got the Maltese Falcon here. I don't know if he'll show up again or not, but we'll see. But you know, Peter Lorre and like I said, Humphrey Bogart. There's something about him that's like the coolest cat in the 40s in some senses too, man. So he's very charismatic, and story of a detective, you know, getting looped into like a conspiracy kind of thing, looking for the Maltese Falcon statue that's priceless, and it's just a great story. And I think the dialogue and script in some of these older movies, the way they were writing them is, you know, you look at Casablanca, you can look at some different things like that. Really well done. And like I said, I like Bogart, so he's making my list somewhere in here. So see if again, but right now I got Maltese there. 87, I go to 87. In 87, I go to 87. I go to Wall Street. You know, Gordon Gekko is one of the best. Like this kind of movie. Gordon Gekko is a fantastic character. Michael Douglas is great. You got Charlie Sheen, got Martin Sheen, great supporting cast here. Daryl Hannah's in this as well, but the Sheens and with Terrence Stamp as a side note, I guess in one sense too, but Gordon Gekko and you know, Martin Sheen's character, or Charlie Sheen's character, trying to get in with a big broker kind of guy, and that's who Gekko is, and the lengths that'll go to make a buck and stuff like this, and they find out how the corrupt side of trading really works. It's Wall Street's a classic movie, so I guess that's gonna lead me to 86. 86, I'm gonna get campy. You want to watch a movie sometimes, you're gonna get, you know, a campy kind of flick. 1990s Total Recall. Because I do like a good popcorn flick too, so they'll pop up every once in a while. And I'm going to put Recall here. Schwarzenegger's, I'm trying to remember who made the movie now. Paul
Verhoeven.
Thank you. He makes great movies. They'll show up again on my list. So, just a story about, you know, if somebody's going to have an adventure and get away from it all and go visit Mars to find out if he's really on Mars, if it's real, if it's not real, if it's a dream, and he's a spy, and, you know, to save the planet and, you know, melt the water and make the planet breathable, and the corrupt side is what's going on Mars. So Total Recall is a kind of classic sci-fi kind of adventure kind of flick, man. So
got to give the people some air.
get them some air. That's a good one, buddy. And that leads me to 80. What am I at now? 85? 84.
84.
I'm going to come in with 1954's Dial M for Murder from Hitchcock. Surprise! It won't be the first Hitchcock that's on my list, but this one's there. Robert Cummings and Ray Milan here is great. Like Grace Kelly, you can see why she was a big star, man. The Ray Milan's character is just like an evil, deviant, dry, methodical kind of planner of how he wants to do something here, and it's got that setting that I like, because if you see me talk about Glengarry or some different kind of settings and stuff like that, it's that one setting scene, and it's basically it's done as a play, and it has that feel to it. But it's devilishly a mystery, and it's got all the elements you want from a Hitchcock flick, man. So I like Hitchcock flicks. Going at number 83 in 1967's Cool Hand Luke. Big fan of Paul Newman, so I'm sure that's not going to be the first time you hear his name on this list either. So, but the rebellious, what was he knocking over the parking head meters? I think it's how he got tagged to go to jail and stuff like that. 2 years, he could have just wrote it out and stuff like that. It was his sentence, but he really bucked the system, and he was his own man, his own character in this movie. And outside of what we've got here is failure to communicate and everything else. It's really you can make this a study movie if you wanted to, just because of the way it goes and stuff like that. And George Kennedy is fantastic in the supporting casting role in this too. Got the Oscar for it, so really is just the strength of one individual and how he does stand up for his own rights or what he thinks is right. And Newman's fantastic, man. So it's going to lead me to number 82 from 1996. Can't help it, man. Sometimes I like these movies. So I'm going to Brian De Palma's Mission Impossible. I've always found this movie to become on. People talk about it and stuff like this, but I think it's kind of underrated, man, for the way this movie is shown. I think De Palma does a great job showing this movie. I think the angles of his cameras, and there's some campy scenes and stuff like that when the helicopter goes in the tunnel and stuff like that. But it still has a lot of the elements that you like. There's the mystery behind it. Who can you trust? Who can you not trust? It's got that Mission Impossible feel. It's got the Mission Impossible music, but John Voight and all these other, Emilio Estevez in the elevator to Tom Cruise and everything else that goes on. And then it's a fantastic movie. I think it's really well done. And like I said, there's not enough credit, I think, for De Palma the way that he shows you this thriller, if you want the truth in one sense. So it's an action thriller kind of movie. And from there, I'm going to end up at number 81. Personal favorite for me. I got Cronenberg's Dead Zone at number 81. Stephen King novel. I love this story. I've loved this movie for a long time, so I love all these movies, man. But Christopher Walken, and the different characters that show up throughout the whole thing. Tom Sterrett, Martin Sheen. Just the story of a bad accident gone wrong, where he can actually see the future if he's physically touching people after waking up from a coma for a long time. So, and when he actually sees, sometimes is not the best. So tries to correct all these things before they can actually happen if you can. But I think it's really, really a creepy kind of neat story from Stephen King that's not really horror, but definitely freaky. So I'm gonna end it with the Dead Zone at 81.
Nice.
Right.
Very diverse list for sure.
Excellent.
Training Day I knew would be on your list. Just did not know where. I know you
Where?
for sure, and Luke, and I knew you had a soft spot for the Mission Impossibles. So, wow, there is a couple hits that we have, but we'll be talking about them later probably.
Cool.
Not necessarily this video.
Same here.
Yeah.
So, next on deck, Randy, I guess. Randy, what do you got?
All right. Well, my number 90, I know one person's probably going to have this a lot higher than I have it, but it's hard to make my list. That's what I can say. And I could have made a 500 list, but and it's going to be from 1975, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Milos Forman, won Academy Awards for all the major categories with the great Nicholson performance. and he just oozes charisma in this film. And Louise Fletcher is one of the all-time villainesses in Nurse Ratched. When it has one of the most classic scenes for Nicholson, where after he's being denied the opportunity to watch the World Series, he decides to narrate the game to a turned-off TV. Just classic stuff, and it's going to be my number 90. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. All right, my number 89 from 1947. It's Orson Welles' The Lady from Shanghai, which to me has one of the best opening monologues, and I'll try to do it justice here. When I start to make a fool of myself, there's very little can stop me. If I'd known where it would end, I'd never let anything start. If I'd been in my right mind, that is. But once I'd seen her, I was not in my right mind for quite some time. And that person he's talking about is, of course, Rita Hayworth, great femme fatale in this movie. And it's just great crime, mystery, film noir. And it has the classic mirror sequence at the end. So that's my number 89, Lady from Shanghai.
Nice.
Let's see, where am I? 88. Manhattan, 1979, Woody Allen. Maybe Woody's most stylish film. Not only is it about his failed love affairs, it's also about his love affair with New York, and New York City, that is. His most successful love affair in this movie. And one complete with this great Gershwin score. Mariel Hemingway stands out as the high school girl he dates, as maybe being the most mature person of all the characters in this movie. But great black and white cinematography, Manhattan. All right, I'm going way back for my number 87, and from 1931, it's Todd Browning's Dracula. While Nosferatu was an important movie for the genre, it's Dracula that became the textbook for all the vampire lore in film. A big part of that is Bela Lugosi's performance with his thick Hungarian accent and unique speaking style that kind of adds mystery to such lines as, "I never drink wine," or "I am Dracula, I bid you welcome." I'm not an impressionist, as you can tell.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good, buddy.
Not bad.
Not bad, Randy.
You're doing this when you're doing it, though.
The movie is a little creaky with Todd Browning's static camera work. Had cinematographer Carl Freund, and he does get to do a few moving shots, and it would have been interesting to have a director like James Whale, who would probably let Carl Freund do his thing, but it was not to be. But it's still an important film, I think. I've been to Transylvania. I've been to Bram Castle, which they call Dracula's Castle in Romania. So it's always been a special. I've always loved vampire flicks, and this is one that kind of started it all. All right, 86. From 1968, Sergio Leone's Once Upon a Time in the West. Leone was a director who takes his time with these extreme close-ups and these beautiful vistas. But when you come to appreciate the process, his movies take on a whole new appreciation, I think. And I think that the movie has one of the all-time great opening sequences where they're waiting to meet Charles Bronson coming in on the train. We also get Henry Fonda as a despicable villain. And you also get Claudia Cardinale, which just doesn't hurt. So that's classic Western. My number 85, from 1975, 3 Days of the Condor, directed by Sidney Pollack. One of the best conspiracy thrillers, a genre that I love. And Robert Redford is superb in this. Max von Sydow is also one of the coolest ever hitmen. Also, Robert Redford's use of book knowledge in order to try to stay alive is truly engrossing. I could rewatch this movie at any time. It's just right up my alley. It's one of my favorite kind of things to watch is conspiracy or thrillers, and this is one of the best. Right, 84. From 1959, it's Howard Hawks' Rio Bravo. Hawks was a master with this type of film, especially male camaraderie. It's perfectly crafted film. You've got John Wayne, you got a drunk former deputy played by Dean Martin, a crotchety sidekick in Walter Brennan, who was very good in those kind of roles, and a young gunfighter played by Ricky Nelson. You also have the love interest, Angie Dickinson. Hawks used a similar formula in two other westerns in El Dorado and Rio Lobo, especially El Dorado. And I think it works every time. He was just a master craftsman, and that's why I always like Howard Hawks films, especially his westerns. My number 83, it's probably going to be on Doc's list and maybe a little higher, but we'll see. From 1979, Ridley Scott's Alien. We get a horror movie in space. It is still intense, has one of the best scares ever on film with John Hurt, and also some great jump scares in this movie, too. It also has one of the best female protagonists in Sigourney Weaver as Ripley. And if they would have listened to her in the beginning, well, there wouldn't have been a movie. But it's it's a great breakout performance with a fantastic ending scene, Alien. All right, number 82 from 1959, Ben-Hur, directed by William Wyler. This is an all-time epic film, and nobody was better with epics than Charlton Heston, who plays Judah Ben-Hur. It also has one of the best action sequences, the chariot race with Heston and Stephen Boyd as Masala. It also has some great dramatic scenes, and William Wyler was really great with personal drama. And it was almost required viewing every Easter. A lot of times it'd be on 2 nights, but yeah, Ben-Hur, great epic. And my number 81. This is a nostalgic pick in that a friend of mine said we need to see this new movie that everybody's talking about. So we went down to the theater. We got in line and went all the way around the block, back before you can just order tickets, online or whatever. And the new movie was Star Wars from 1977, directed by George Lucas. It was called A Western in Space, but it started a phenomena. And another movie in the franchise might be better, but I'm taking the original that established all the characters in our minds. And I hope the Force is with everyone. That's my 81.
Well, I'm sure that's going to appear on a couple of our lists, probably a little bit further down the road. And I'm glad to see Aliens in there for sure. And again, I'm like really amazed that there's only one movie on the list that I haven't seen of yours, Randy. I thought for sure you'd be throwing more curveballs at me, and I'd be like, "Oh, I got to keep writing these down." But
which one? The Lady from Shanghai?
The Lady from Shanghai, I've not seen.
Yeah, I've seen them all. They're great. There's 3 that are going to appear on my list later.
Wow.
I'm not going to comment, Randy, but it could be 2 or 3 on mine. So,
All right.
Yeah. All right. Rich, you're on deck, son.
Sounds good. I just have one minor quibble, and that's, what do I got to do to get a leather seat in this place? You know what I'm saying?
Set you on top of the stool. Got you propped up on a popcorn box.
Damn. But anyway, let's get to the list. My number 90, Planet of the Apes from 1968, the original Planet of the Apes, and still the best in my view, with Charlton Heston. It was a big upgrade at the time to the cheesy sci-fi flicks that I grew up with, like Creature of the Black Lagoon and Mysterious Island, and some of that schlock that you would get on the late night TV or Saturday afternoon TV. But Planet of the Apes was next level. It was more realistic. The apes taking over. Very entertaining, I think. I saw this in the drive-in as an 11-year-old kid with my family, and very memorable. And that's why it's on the list. The last shot with the Statue of Liberty is, iconic, I think. So that's making the list. Number 89 is one that Brian had last time in our last show, and that is The Big Chill from 1983. This is just a fun movie, serious at times. You got the 7 college friends from the University of Michigan gathering for a funeral of one of their classmates, one of the inner circle, so to speak, a suicide, died at a young age, which makes it more, hard-hitting. It's a talented ensemble cast featuring Kevin Kline and Glenn Close and Jeff Goldblum. William Hurt is the standout for me. Tom Berenger's very good. Joe Beth Williams, who you don't see much anymore. Mary Kay Place. They all do their roles superbly. Lots of conversation and drinking and pot smoking and reflections of the past. Some people are happy with their status in life, and others are living unfulfilled lives. And they kibitz and jab each other a little bit. And it's hippies becoming yuppies. Excellent script. Lawrence Kasdan, the director here, like in Silverado, one of the earlier films. And again, an amazing soundtrack. I don't want to leave that out. Played throughout. And again, William Hurt, one of my favorite actors, plays one of his best roles here in a supporting role. Number 88 and number 87 are both by the same director. I'll take them on one at a time. Frank Capra. Number 88 is Meet John Doe, excuse me. One of those underrated kind of under the radar Capra-esque kind of films. Down on his luck guy, they pick off the street and he's taking on those in power. Barbara Stanwyck is this journalist who has an agenda. It's good on social commentary. It's filmed right after the Depression, the Great Depression. Political ideology, all that stuff's hammered here. You can't help but root for the underdog. I like these Capra movies. It's not on the same level as maybe It's a Wonderful Life, but it still works very, very well. And people will flock to see this back in the 40s, coming off, it came out right in the beginning of World War I, 1941. So I think it works perfectly. It's a good watch. Number 87, same director, Frank Capra. It's You Can't Take It With You from 1938. This is it's more of a fun film, I think, about this eccentric family, bunch of misfits and free spirits, and they all have a carefree approach to life. It has to do with maybe moving the house and paying taxes and this and that. There's a lot of parallels to It's a Wonderful Life, but it's definitely a little more fun. It actually won the Oscar for Best Picture in 1938. Lionel Barrymore here is fantastic as the man who detests materialistic possessions. His priority is family and love, and he lets everybody do their thing. It's a classic, timeless screwball comedy in a way, with some serious moments as well. My number 86, Jackie Brown by Quentin Tarantino from 1997. It's his third film, coming off the heels of Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction. It's not at that level, but it's still a favorite of mine. Double crosses, triple crosses, a caper kind of film in a way, but entertaining, rewatchable. Pam Grier is the title character here. Jackie Brown, a stewardess who's transporting drugs into the U.S. over the border here. And Sam Jackson is nasty as can be, but he's charismatic in an evil kind of way. Robert De Niro's his lackey. Robert Forster gives a tremendous performance here as well as the bail bondsman. Bridget Fonda's the eye candy, the surfer girl. And Michael Keaton is one of the drug agents who's trying to capture this transaction as it goes down. And they set up all this sting operation, and Tarantino shows you 2 or 3 angles of how it went down, and maybe it's not going to come out the way you want, but I don't know. I don't have every Tarantino film on my list, but this is going to crack it for me at number 86. Number 85 is Blowout from 1981 by Brian De Palma. The movie soundman, played by John Travolta, finds himself in the middle of a murder investigation. There's elements of Chappaquiddick here, and there's a Zapruder film kind of as well, where he's putting together what happened while he was filming by the Schuylkill River, I believe it was, in Philadelphia. Hitchcockian in a way, with the tension, suspenseful. Takes place in Philly, like I said, at the Bicentennial. It's a really good watch. Travolta is the lead, and John Lithgow is the evil menace, hitman. Nancy Allen is as the woman, the girlfriend at times here, who he has to rescue in a real classic showdown scene. Love it. Number 84 is an older film, 1950, The Asphalt Jungle, directed by John Huston.
Wow.
Randy had this on his series of 1950 when he went through the TV and music and movies, and this is really an excellent movie. A gritty, realistic jewel heist. Definitely a blueprint for the caper films that followed. I like John Huston as a director as well. Very impressive filmography. He did The Maltese Falcon and Treasure of Sierra Madre, Key Largo, African Queen. Goes on and on, up all the way up to Man Who Would Be King and Prince's Honor. He's got a great resume, and this is right in line with those kind of films. Sam Jaffe, by the way, is the man with the plan here, and he's trying to get together a safecracker and a wheelman, explosives experts, everything you would expect. I like Sterling Hayden, an underrated actor. He appears here, obviously, 22 years before he's in The Godfather as the policeman. So good stuff. 1950, my number 84, The Asphalt Jungle. My number 83 is American Graffiti. George Lucas, who would go on to do Star Wars. This is very nostalgic, entertaining, coming of age, set in 1962 in Modesto, California. The wonderful soundtrack of those late 50s, early 60s radio-friendly oldies. Again, sorry, Brian, you got Richard Dreyfuss in here, and Ron Howard, Cindy Williams, who passed away last year, I believe. Charlie Martin Smith, who's good. Harrison Ford, his early appearance as well. It's a time of innocence. Just before the JFK assassination, before the Vietnam War, before the Manson murders and Watergate, when things were just different. It spawned like shows like Happy Days and Laverne and Shirley on TV. It's just a fun flick. Number 82 is Young Frankenstein, Mel Brooks comedy from 1974. An homage to those Universal Monster movies. Great parody of Frankenstein, played by Peter Boyle here. Putting on the Ritz is an all-time great scene where he's on stage with this suit and tie or black tie affair kind of event, and everything goes bizarre. Gene Wilder, Terry Garr, Marty Feldman with the eyes going both ways, Cloris Leachman, and Madeline Kahn fill out the cast. Black and white photography to suit the motif. It's outstanding. Young Frankenstein, number 82. And number 81 from 1999, The Sixth Sense, directed by M. Night Shyamalan, starring Bruce Willis and Haley Joel Osment. Psychological thriller, a ghost story, if you will. Even on repeated watches, it works for me. When I know how that twist ending is going to come, and it's still, you can pick out the little hints along the way. There's a red doorknob, and there's different things that he lays out. I see dead people as the tagline. It was on the poster and the commercials and stuff. It's kind of a leisurely pace through it, but once in a while you get a jump, disturbing scene, some shocking images. Again, shot in Philadelphia, and still my favorite M. Night Shyamalan film of all the ones he's done. I still like this the best. So that's number 81.
Nice. Well, of your list, I'm going to have some. I won't tell you which ones, but then there's two movies I haven't seen, and both of them were the Frank Capra movies.
They're very good. I think.
So I have not seen them yet. I have not seen either one yet. So
there's only one movie I haven't seen so far, both Doc's and Rich's list.
Wow.
I haven't seen Manhunter yet for some reason. I don't know.
How about off my list? Which one? Just curious.
No, I've seen all of yours.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, Doc's the only one. I had one I haven't seen.
Gotcha.
Right. All right. I guess I'll jump into mine then, and we can wrap this up pretty well. Let's see. Starting with mine, we're going to start at number 90. I don't know why this thing scrolled down on me, but here we go. Number 90, I've got Spellbound, Alfred Hitchcock, 1945. A Hitchcock surreal thriller with Gregory Peck and Ingrid Bergman, based on the book The House of Dr. Edwards. It has this very Salvador Dali-inspired imagery, and that garnered 6 Academy Award nominations. I'm a big fan of Salvador Dali as well, his artwork. So this was kind of a twofer for me. I get to enjoy it twice and from different perspectives. Number 89, I put the consummate buddy movie for the Old West, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, by George R. Hill from 1969, starring Paul Newman. We know Doc had Paul Newman on his list, but for something different. And then Robert Redford, and Robert Redford was on somebody else's list as well, but for something different. But there was the real life outlaws and their various adventures. Great movie filled with a combination of humor and action, and it's a classic of its genre. I just think really the most tragic thing about it is by the time they decided they wanted to go straight, that proved to be their undoing in the whole movie. So wanted to include it though. At number 88, I've got Elia Kazan's East of Eden, 1955. It's my favorite film, starring James Dean as Cal Trask, the lesser-like son of two siblings. The narrator mirrors the events depicted in the Bible between Cain and Abel, with a title from a direct takeaway from the location of where Cain would be banished once he had murdered his brother Abel. Really, I just enjoyed him in this one so much. I've seen, I mean, he didn't have that many movies, which is a shame, but I've only, the ones I've saw, I probably like this one the best, and Rebel Without a Cause probably would be a close second. But after that, I don't know. I guess I just wasn't the guy who was into Giant all that much. And the other one, Shane, I wasn't into it too much. So number 87 for me, I've got another Christopher Nolan film. I know I had one in my last one from 2014, though. I've got Interstellar, starring Matthew McConaughey and Jessica Chastain. Not Jessica, yeah, Jessica Chastain. And then he is a pilot and Father Coop, who must engage on a mission to go across the universe and attempt to find, basically the future of mankind. It's just very close, authentically close to the science that's actually involved in the nature of time and the theory of relativity and how time moves and its effect on, the people here on Earth versus the people there. I think some of the coolest things about it was there's a scene where they land on a planet that's so close to a supergiant that for every second that they're actually on the planet, an hour is clicking by back on Earth. So as soon as they land, the effect is all the sound goes away in the film, except for this ticking clock that you can hear while they're trying to do all the things that they're doing and realizing that time is just slipping away on them, the longer they stay down there. And by the time they get back to the ship, the one person they had left behind had aged a couple decades. So that's tells you how theory of relativity can really work in a bad way. Number 86, I've got Close Encounters of the Third Kind. This is kind of surprising considering I really didn't care for this movie just a few months ago. I rewatched it again prior to making this list, and it definitely deserves to be up here. Steven Spielberg's 1977 film. I bumped this one up quite a bit. Like I said, despite having Richard Dreyfuss in it, it has great effects.
Admit it, you love him.
Awesome soundtrack, really stunning and really ahead of its time in so many ways. I just think it was important for me to give it, if I'm going to give Star Wars some love somewhere down the road here, then a Close Encounters needs to have almost equal amount of love. Different type of sci-fi, but still an important one for the genre. Number 85, I've got Logan by James Mangold from 2017. It'll be the first of maybe two superhero movies that I'll have on my list. I know we have somebody who left a message that said you're not going to have any superhero movies on your list, but this is the one I'm going to have for one of them. This one's a unique blend of superhero genre with a bit of neo-Western sensibilities. Mangold does a tremendous job limiting the scope of the typical cliches associated with superhero movies and made this more about a father-daughter type of relationship between Wolverine/Logan and the young girl in it, played by very well by Daphne Keane. I thought she did an excellent job as the young X-23, I believe is her code name in the film. Boyd Holbrook plays Donald Pierce, the bounty hunter that is tracking them down. He does an excellent job as well. Number 84, I've got John Carpenter, 1982's The Thing. Although it's a slight remake, this horror by John Carpenter surely sets the bar high with the premise that the enemy could be anyone or anything, living thing, and thus creating a constant guessing game as to who to trust. And the suspense build as the circle obviously gets smaller of people that are still alive. So Kurt Russell, Keith David anchor this cult sci-fi classic that has definitely stood the time over the last 40 years. You watch that movie today, somebody could watch it for the first time, a young kid, and they could believe that it'd be a movie that would have been made like yesterday. You know, that's how good everything is in it. So number 83, I've got Paul T. Anderson's Boogie Nights from 1997. Boogie Nights follows Eddie Adams, a young dishwasher with dreams of fame who transforms into the adult star Dirk Diggler. Set in the 1970s and 80s porn industry, the film explores the highs and lows of Dirk's career alongside a very colorful cast, including the director Jack Horner and fellow actors Amber Waves and Roller Girl, who's played by Heather Graham. Just absolutely incredible. Philip Seymour Hoffman's in it. Burt Reynolds is in it. Just fantastic cast. As Dirk's success grows, so does the complexities of his personal and professional life, leading to a very dramatic climax in the film. So number 82, I'm going to go back in time a little bit here, though, but I'm going to go ahead and include The Wizard of Oz here from 1939. I think it's a timeless classic. I remember every Christmas getting together with the family, sitting in front of the TV, and we would always watch this, during the holiday seasons. Obviously telling the tale of young Dorothy and her adventures in the enchanted land of Oz. She befriends a ragtag bunch of misfits as they band together in hopes of meeting the great wizard who may grant each of them their desires in a fashion. So there's a wonderful twist at the end where you're confronted with the very real truth that Dorothy may in fact have dreamt this entire journey, but making it no less magical for us as the viewers. So, and finally for me, I've got Michael Gondry's from 2004, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I think this is one of Jim Carrey's finest performances as the man Joel, who along with Clementine, wished to erase the memories of the pain of their tumultuous relationship. And as the memories slowly fade, Joel is faced with the revelation that he still loves Clementine. I think the film is a great exploration of the importance of pain and hurt and laying the foundation for our measuring the very capabilities of love and our ability to effectively express it to one another. So I really enjoyed that film even on the first time that I watched it. So that's my 90 through 81.
Very nice.
A little bit different than some, yes.
I have three of those are going to appear later on my list, and one I have not seen. As you can imagine, I've never seen Logan.
No. Worth seeing.
I have not seen Logan either. Or Interstellar. That's the two I haven't seen from
I've
you.
seen Interstellar, yeah.
Right. So,
I liked your list, Brian.
It's good.
Mhm.
yeah, and again, here we are, guys. We've listed 40 different movies. You know, you have to go. We only had one match that if you had to go back to the list prior to get a match from the Big Chill,
Right.
and everything else is, basically we cranked out 39 different movies again for everybody to take a gander.
Jeez.
So pretty
That's
good.
amazing. Yeah, it's very good.
That is impressive, actually.
Yeah, it shows you how different all of us are, and what we consider personal favorites. We'd have made a list of what we consider the classic films of all time based on, critical
The
acclaim,
best
things
movies of
like
all
that.
time.
We'd be closer to the center, but this is our personal taste. So I like this.
Yeah, very good.
Well, thanks everyone for staying tuned for this, and hopefully you got some movies here that you need to watch. I know I've been making little asterisks beside movies as we've gone along here, and some films that I need to see. So be sure to like, sub, and comment down below. Give us your rankings of 90 down to 81 here for you. And we hope you enjoy the series and that you'll stay tuned for each and every one of the videos that we have counting down to number 1. So until next time, everybody take care. Bye-bye.
See ya.